the member states of the Great Lakes region have had to deal with numerous conflicts recorded in the different states, and thus it has called for international community to intervene, where they send peacekeepers on a precarious peacekeeping mission, but sometimes they end up indulging in abstruse missions. And thus the Forum of Parliament of the International Conference on the Great Lakes region is saying that is a matter that must be dealt with, and this was resolved during the plenary assembly that was held in Livingstone, Zambia. James Kaberuka is the chairperson of the Natural Resources Committee of the Forum, and he represented the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among.
We have seen some non-state actors coming as peacekeepers, but they start meddling into politics of the region. It is important that they keep to their lane, and the states, the member states, should have strong voice and strong resolution on how we allow them in our countries and what they ought to do. Otherwise, they are going to be a setback to the peace building in our region.
The civil society organizations, the opposition in the various member states, have always complained that the sitting government, especially the president or the incumbent, always selects who becomes the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, and thus there is always a fear that the very Electoral Commission might favor the regime in power. And therefore, this is a matter that the Forum has discussed, and they made a resolution on it. Onyango Kakoba is the Secretary General of the Forum.
The protocol on democracy and good governance within the ICGL member states calls upon member countries to make sure that they put in place electoral management bodies that, one, are independent, and number two, are able to deliver without being doubted. But as far as they are put, the mechanism, it's not very much clearly designed, so that one depends on the member countries. But the most important thing is to make sure that the teams that are put in place are teams that cut across, that appeal to the different political divides, so that eventually when they take a decision, they are not looked as teams that are biased.
There was also a resolution on peace and security within the Great Lakes region and what needs to be done as a way forward, especially in terms of the conflicts that have been recorded or that are still ongoing in Eastern DRC and also Sudan in the north.
Plenary condemned acts of armed conflicts within those different countries and areas, and called upon those that are involved in the armed conflict to put down their arms and look for ways of, of going to the negotiating table. Because at the end of the day, when they continue with the conflict, it's the ordinary people who suffer. So the plenary called upon them to try to look for ways of resolving conflicts instead of going into armed conflict. Secondly, even parliaments, the parliamentarians were encouraged to sensitize their people, the constituents, against situations where young people could be lured into rebel activities, because at the end of the day, when they are lured, one, they get sucked in, and number two, they cause problems within their community. When those conflicts happen, it is the people who suffer. The governments were also called upon to make sure that they promote situations, that they put in place mechanisms that will help people, and so that they don't get involved in armed conflict. Because some of these conflicts arise out of situations within grievances that are within the different communities.
Towards the end of the 14th plenary assembly, the former president of that is the Speaker of South Sudan, Jema Nunu Kumba, handed over the instruments of power to the incoming National Assembly Speaker of Zambia, that is Nelly Muti, who is now going to carry on with the mantle for this term, which is 1 year.
I therefore would like to appeal to all member parliaments with outstanding arrears to fulfill their commitments promptly to ensure the Forum carries out its activities as planned. And I would make an initiative myself to engage all sitting speakers to ensure that we achieve this milestone. The second one, honorable members, distinguished guests, I will ensure effective implementation of Forum's strategic plan. Inasmuch as the Forum strategic plan is in place, it is important that the implementation of the planned activities are effectively carried out.
Sudhir Byaruhanga, NTV, Livingstone, Zambia.